Nestled in the remote, forested hills of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, there stands a building that looks, at first glance, like something out of a southern fairy tale. With its towering stone walls, sweeping balconies, and grand Victorian architecture, the Crescent Hotel once promised peace, restoration, and luxury to those who entered its doors. But beneath its elegant facade lies something ancient, something malignant, something that has earned it a darker name: America's most haunted hotel. And when you walk its halls today, you do so among those who never left. The Crescent Hotel opened in 1886 with celebration and splendor. It was hailed as the grandest resort in the Ozarks, a place where the rich and weary could rest, where nature and opulence merged. But the land beneath it had never been quiet. Long before the hotel rose, native tribes warned of unnatural energy in the mountains. Hunters spoke of areas where no animals ventured, no birds sang, and compasses spun like caught in a storm. Still, the developers ignored the whispers. And almost immediately, things began to go wrong. Workers died during construction. Tools went missing, then reappeared in impossible places. One stonemason, known today only as Michael, plummeted to his death from the roof. Some say he was pushed. His blood never truly left the floorboards, and neither did he. Today, guests in room 218, the site of his fatal fall, report violent activity, shaking beds, flying objects, doors slamming on their own, and whispers in the dark. He is angry, they say. And he wants to be known. The hotel stumbled financially and was eventually converted into a college for young women in the early 1900s, but even that couldn't escape the building's curse. Students complained of footsteps in empty corridors, shadowy figures standing in corners, and dreams that turned violent without warning. The college shuttered after only a few years, and for decades the building sat in eerie silence. But nothing could have prepared it, or the town, for what came next. In 1937, a man named Norman G. Baker arrived. A failed inventor, radio host, and self-proclaimed doctor, Baker purchased the Crescent Hotel and announced it would become a revolutionary cancer hospital. He promised miraculous, non-surgical cures and filled the building with patients desperate to survive. But there was no medicine, no science, only fraud and death. Baker had no medical license. His so-called treatments involved injecting patients with a secret formula made from watermelon seed oil, carbolic acid, and alcohol. There were no operations, no recovery. Only pain, denial, and quiet death. Patients were locked away in the upper rooms, sedated, and forgotten. Their bodies were hidden, some buried in the garden, others stored in the building's basement morgue. That space, now part of the hotel's haunted tour, still hums with dread. The walls seem to breathe. Lights flicker. And when you stand in the doorway, you're never entirely alone. One of Baker's nurses, Theodora, reportedly died there after discovering the extent of his cruelty. Guests now claim to see her near room 419, gently introducing herself before vanishing in a blink. Tour guides say she's one of the nice ones. But even she cannot stop what stirs in the deeper halls. In 2019, landscapers unearthed dozens of glass jars buried behind the hotel, still sealed, filled with preserved human tissue, proof of Baker's monstrous acts. Some of the specimens still bore the names of his patients. Others were anonymous. To this day, no one knows exactly how many people died at the Crescent. The building keeps its secrets. And it does not forget. The activity here is unlike any other haunt. Guests don't just hear things, they feel them. Cold hands brushing against their skin. Breathing in empty rooms. Shadows moving against the flow of light. Mirrors fog up with writing. Clocks stop at 2:14 am, the hour when most of the activity peaks. The elevators move on their own. And sometimes, doors lock from the inside. Staff report seeing the man in the lavender suit, Baker himself, walking the halls as if he still owns the place, still searching for his next patient. There is a hallway on the second floor that some say stretches longer than it should. You walk 20 steps, turn back. And the exit is gone. One woman who stayed in room 3500 reported hearing piano music all night long, though no one else on her floor heard a sound. Another guest said she saw her own reflection blink before she did, then smile. Another woke up to find her room key outside her window, 12 floors up. Not all spirits here are kind. One guest described being held down in her bed by unseen hands, her mouth frozen open, unable to scream. In the basement morgue, visitors say the temperature drops, so suddenly it takes your breath away. One former employee quit after hearing what sounded like a gurney being rolled across the tile, though the floor had been empty for years. Something down there, he said, wants to be heard. And wants to be found. Some investigators believe the Crescent sits on a spiritual fault line, a place where trauma has thinned the barrier between life and death. A thin place, they call it. Where the past is not gone, it's just beneath the surface, waiting for someone to see it. Or worse, join it. Even now, the hotel operates as normal. You can check in, sleep in the same rooms where people died in agony, even tour the morgue if you dare. But be warned, the Crescent Hotel doesn't just contain ghosts. It creates them. And those who go looking for answers here rarely leave the same. Some places are haunted because of what happened in them. But some places are haunted because of what they are. This is the Crescent Hotel. And here, history doesn't rest. It waits. You've been watching Abandoned Earth, where silence speaks and ruins remember. If this story chilled you, subscribe now for more haunted places, cursed buildings, and forbidden histories, because the world is full of places like this. Places people were meant to forget. But we remember them. Hit the bell icon, because the next place we uncover might be just down the road.